Brothers and sisters, on this feast of the Most Holy Trinity, I'd like to reflect with you on the question, who is God? The Protestant theologian John Calvin, in his famous book, The Institute of the Christian Faith, in the introductory part, he says that there are two main questions which every one of us must answer. The first is, who is God? The second is, who am I? Who is the human person? And according to him, if you got the first question wrong, that is the question, who is God? Then you will most certainly get the second question wrong. The question, who am I? To know God is to know who I am. Without God, I don't know who I am. Without God, I don't know the way. I don't know the truth. I won't have life. That is why St. Paul reminds us that it's in God, in Him, that we live and move and have our being. He is the first and the last, the beginning and the end. He is the source and destiny of all things. When we know God, like Jesus said in John, what is the truth? To know you, the one true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you sent. Knowledge of God is not merely intellectual knowledge. Otherwise, the smartest people on earth will know more God than the rest. Knowledge of God comes to us on bended knees. It comes to us in those moments when we make our time to pray. It comes to us when we work with the poor. The poor are the icons of God, as John Chrysostom reminds us. It comes to us in our moments of pain, in the tragedies of life. It comes to us in the world of nature, when we are at peace with the world around us. The silence of our hearts, like the book of the Psalms says, the whole earth reveals the glory of the Lord. The firmament tells forth the story. It's very important that we know who God is. Like St. Paul says, I know Him in whom I have put my faith. So it's very important that we must answer that question. It's not only for ourselves, but Christian anthropology makes this so clear about this common origin of all human beings from the same source. But above all, that we are all made in the image and likeness of God. So knowing God helps me to know myself. But it helps me to know my brothers and sisters, to see in them something that God sees in me, something that God sees in them. I remember many years ago, I think that was in 2012, at the Toronto Public Library, and we had gone for this forum at the Toronto Public Library, which brings people together once a week to talk about ideas. So I was talking about why we need religion, why we need God. My co-panelist was talking about bees, why we need bees. And the other one was talking about why we need failures. So at the end of our presentation, One man came to me and said, that was a terrific presentation. That's very fantastic. And just as my ego was being inflated and I was kind of taking it all in, and he said, but Stan, it's so unfortunate that with your good mind, whatever that means, you waste your time, waste your fine brain thinking about God, defending the existence of God, and talking about God. It's a waste of human brain. But that gave me the impetus, actually, to even seek more to know this God. Because like St. Peter said, always be ready to give an account of the hope that is in you. And this world today, we need to defend the existence of God. But it's no longer going to be through merely intellectual defense, writing tomes or books, like Thomas Aquinas did for his times. In our time, people want you to show them God by the way you live. Like Pope Francis said, the kind of defense we need today of God is by attraction. I remember the story of that little girl who was drawing something, and the mother said to her, "What are you drawing?" She said, "I am drawing God." The mom says, "No one has seen God." Well, she said, "They will know when they see my drawing, how God looks like." Now, we are like that little girl in many instances. Many people, like my friend at Toronto Public Library, who said, "I'm wasting my time, my energy thinking about God or talking about God," might be people who have been misled into thinking or believing false notions of God, idols that we have presented and said that they are gods. The angry God who is always punishing me, who is always trying to destroy sinners and destroy my enemies. The vengeful God, the violent God who glories in blood and bloodshed and in wars. The God that many people call forth when they blow down churches, blow down monuments, or mow down people. The God that some of us use to defend all kinds of atrocities, racism, genocide, white supremacy. The God we use to defend jihads or religious wars or crusades. That's not the God anyone will believe in. Is that kind of God, the image of these distorted images of God, the idols that we have presented in the name of God, that people are walking away from. And that's why the church gives us this feast day of the Most Holy Trinity to pause and say, who is this God? And the scriptures today tell us that God is love. God is the wisdom that made all things. God is compassion. God is mercy. God is that energy that brings creation into being. The Father who creates. The Son who saves in love. And the Holy Spirit who sanctifies in love. Who gives us courage. Who leads us by the hand. And that there is a relationship of friendship, mutuality, collaboration, cooperation, friendship, solidarity, participation, respect, reverence. That is the character, that is the essence of the Christian God. The Trinity is this wonderful relationship, wonderful coming together of these persons that bring creation into being. Can we then, as believers, begin to behave and live like our God by working together, by living in love and reflecting love, by seeing a world that is peaceful, the God that brings harmony and peace upon creation, whose spirit hovered over creation and called creation into being out of love? That, I think, is why we celebrate the Most Holy Trinity. So that we Christians can enter deeper into this mystery. The God who calls us again and again into being out of love, and the God who saves us in love, who sanctifies us in love, who takes us by the hand in love, and who will bring us home to our final destination when all things will be one. One family, one faith, one people. May we go forth and become love to people. May we show the face of God by the way we love. And may we attract more people to our churches, to our communities, our families, by living and reflecting the qualities of the Most Holy Trinity that works so perfectly together. And that perfect harmony brings harmony into creation and brings new life into being. And may God bless you as you live this beautiful life of love in God.